Hey YouTubers, Levi back again. Saved the best two characters for last. This is going to be the Barbarian. I did manage to get the mountain set to get the leapquake build rolling. So we're going to show off that here, but before I was using leapquake, I was still a fire spec. All my skills are exactly the same. The only skill that changed was leap. So I'll go over these here. I'm using Bash Instigation for the extra Fury generation to fuel Hammer of the Ancients, which does ridiculous fire damage and has increased crit chance for having full Fury. Warcry Impunity for extra resistance and armor for the better survivability. Earthquake Molten Fury, pretty self-explanatory there. And then Leap Death from Above to stun the enemies, because when you stun, you're going to make the earthquake, and then you can just pretty much leave them there to melt and die. Before I had the pieces, I was actually using Ground Stomp, Wrenching Smash to pull everything in. So I'd pull them all in, just hammer, hammer, hammer. And that was, instead of mobility getting to them, just bring them straight to me. And then Wrath of the Berserker Insanity for the extra damage when you hit some stupid elites that are being a pain in the ass or frozen. Passives are Weapon Master. Since we're using Mace and or Axe in the main hand, we're going to get that added crit chance. Rampage, since we're constantly moving and jumping into more packs, it's easy to keep that stack up to increase our damage. Ruthless, if they're standing in the fire, you proc them down below 30%. They take more damage from the fire. They just melt much faster. And then Brawler for more damage when you have big packs around you, which you usually leap right into. So let's go over the actual character and gear. As you can see here, my damage and toughness look absolutely horrible, and they are. They're really low. My vitality is really low. I focused a lot to try to get a lot of fire damage, get that 87%. Our attack speed isn't too shabby, but we got the 50% crit chance, 354 crit damage. This is kind of where you want to be as a beginner, starting out your character. We went for maximum fury because this is a fury intensive build when it comes to the hammer. We pretty much just hammer things while we wait for leap to cool down. So we went for extra fury there. We're going for extra vitality for survivability. Cooldown reduction for the leap, obviously, and all the other, and the earthquake and the wrath. And then just sort of put the rest where I needed them to hit that 50% crit chance and to get some extra crit damage there. Same as everyone, resist and life percentage. And then we went resource cost reduction and then life on hit for added survivability over the area damage. So the gear that I got, we got the mountain helm, the shoulders, and the pants. And then I was able to get a Ring of Royal Grandeur so we can keep the Mage Fists and the Cinder Coat, which aren't the greatest. But and the stats we rolled on these aren't that great either, but we got cooldown reduction there. We got crit chance, armor resistance on that one. This has got fire skills and some decent strength on there. Really, the orange stat on this doesn't really mean anything to me. Let's see, Reaper's Wraps without fire damage because I needed the resistance and vitality, unfortunately, but we needed this for the resource generation. Hellcat Waistguard, increased attack speed and resistance. Mage Fist are pretty much self-explanatory. A Trifecta Ring to complement off of the Ring of Royal Grandeur. Let's see, the pants, which are decent. I wish we had better strength and vitality. I didn't want movement speed. I wanted all resistance. But once again, these are pieces that can be upgraded later on. And then we got the coveted Lut socks, which rolled a horrible strength and horrible vite, but the vite was actually much lower. So we just went, or it was actually, that's the lowest the strength can possibly be. But we needed more survivability, so we re-rolled the vite. Burning Axe of Sancus, which I got to thank one of my friends for. He found this when we were rifting, and he didn't need it, and so he just was able just to give it to me. I think that was the first trade on Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls that actually, somebody got something they needed from another player that was playing in their group. I don't think anybody else has said that has actually worked for them, but we had that little hour window, and he gave it to me within the first 5 minutes of it dropping. So awesome there. And then we got a Devastator that we crafted, which is decent. The strength roll could have been a lot better, but unfortunately, with the high fire skill damage on there, I needed to roll the socket on there. And that's pretty much the build. So we're going to zone in to the Weeping Hollow per usual, because we got good monster density there. And we're going to kill some things, hopefully find an elite pack, and show you how well this plays off. We're in Torment 2, which is probably a little lower than where this build should be at, having the full mountain set, but because our survivability and our damage is low, as you can see, here we go. So we got lucky, we got an elite pack here. The hammer does pretty good damage. And it tanks things down pretty quickly. Our frame rate is atrocious right now. But here, we'll pop that, and usually you just kind of stand here and let everything just die around you. We'll leap into these, and we'll come back for the shrine, and we'll wrath. And Wrath of the Berserker is just overkill most of the time. You'll use it for bosses and hard to kill elites, but generally you'll save it. You can see what I mean. How we just keep moving around. You stun, you kill things, they melt away into the fire. Things that try to run towards you into the fire die really quickly. It's a fun build, and it's probably one of the most fun builds you can have as a barbarian besides whirlwinding around, because you just get to leap and make giant pools of fire everywhere, which then drop the cooldown of Earthquake from the gear bonus. Reduce the cooldown of the Earthquake every time it kills an enemy. And we're doing pretty well keeping our fury up. We don't even actually need to hammer that often. I've seen builds that don't even have a fury generator stat on there. But I'm kind of dragging the song right now and just kind of still killing things. But you guys get the idea. If you got any questions, comments, ways to make this build better, go ahead and leave them below in the comments, and we can start a little topic discussion on the Barbarian and the best builds for them, and go from there. Alright guys, I hope you found this video useful. One thing I do want to tell you is all the pieces that I got for the set here were gambled off of Kadala. So getting the blood shards and gambling with her does pay off in the long run. It took me about 4 or 5 days to get all the pieces, including farming bags for the royal ring, but it was well worth it. It made the build a lot more fun to play.